Hey, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for being late here. I've got a good excuse. I've been on drugs, and somehow or another, I got the shakes. And goodness gracious, I just want to thank. Professor Dr. George Grant for being with me today. But I wanted to start out, and I wanted to share some information with you folks. This is my first time of being back on live TV since Friday, October the 28th, or excuse me, 29th. Little did I know that night my life would change. Imagine how you would feel. You're floating along through life, decade after decade after decade. Your blood pressure is good, 120 something over 68 to 70 something. Your cholesterol levels are good. In 2019, I had my lab test and all that stuff done, and my bad cholesterol was 76. So I'm floating along and I'm thinking, if your blood pressure's good, if your cholesterol levels is good, your heart's got to be good, right? Not necessarily. This was the crack that I fell into. And I wanted to come on today and share with you why I've been gone all this month, because I landed in the hospital on Friday night with pains in my chest. And this led me to open heart quadruple bypass surgery on Monday, November the 1st, 2021. And I tell you, the journey was really an eye-opening experience for me. And I've asked Dr. George Grant to join us today because I got some questions and stuff, because nobody saw this coming. Not yours truly, not my medical doctors. The test, we did not trip any red flares anywhere, any place, anytime. And let me just say here before I invite Dr. George on, I have come to the conclusion the best defense for your heart is a good offense. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about just eating healthy and all that. The very first signs of heart problems, pain in your chest, go to the ER. Because that's extremely important, because your heart is crying out for help. And it can't get the blood and the nutrients it needs to, function properly. So it's trying to clear out some of that blockage, some of the plaque breaks you loose. And in the ER, they will actually draw your blood. They look for that protein. If they see that particular protein, they know we got to move fast. They gave me 4 baby aspirins and some nitro under the tongue. And that's why I only experienced a mild heart attack. Let me bring Dr. George on. He's sitting there, and I don't want him to go to sleep on me. How you doing, George?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jim. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you, sir. And thank you for, joining me on a short notice, because I decided this morning at 2:30 in the morning, I woke up, I said, I'm going to talk to people out there today, and I'm going to tell them what's going on. Yes. You know what was interesting, Dr. George, on that Friday night? My first chest pain was on Thursday night. Yes. I felt a little pressure in my chest. My elbows ached on both arms from the elbows down. I took some baking soda and put it in some water, stirred it up. About 10 minutes later, it was gone. So I went to bed. I'm good, right? Friday night was a different breed of cat, ladies and gentlemen. I had the same type of symptoms, except I was extremely restless. If I was sitting down, I felt like I needed to stand up. If I was standing up, I felt like I needed to lay down. I could not find a comfortable place. I was just totally restless. I had my wife check my blood pressure. It was 174 over 86. And I said, I need to go in. Something's going on. And from that moment there, it took us about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max to get to the ER. because all I did was get up and brush my teeth, put my shoes on, and Evelyn called him, and they said, "Yeah, bring him right on in." And when you got a 73-year-old man sitting out there in a waiting room, he's got chest pains, you won't be waiting long. I can promise you that. They'll get you in there. But when they took my blood pressure, George, it was 190 over 111.
Wow.
So it increased from 174 over 86 to 190 over 111. And it's a good thing that I responded and went to the ER, because in this case here, and I'm going to give you a chance to talk a little bit about that, George. This case here, time is your enemy. You can easily see, if I waited another hour, what could have happened. We don't know. But I'm gambling with the health of my heart. And that's dangerous, isn't it, George?
Well, that's why it's called the silent killer, Jim, because this is what took the life of my parents and
Yes.
grandparents. And that is something is very dear to my heart. Heart disease. That's what took my mom at age 41 and my dad in his early 50s. And I never see my grandparents from heart disease, blood pressure, diabetes, and so on. So this is something I've studied. This is something I've seen with my clients.
Mhm.
I've told you about several clients that I've had seen in the past 40 years. You remember the guy who had 99% clogged arteries, and
Yes.
his lifestyle was atrocious, and he had 99%, and he was taking 28 medications, and he done
Mm.
the bypass, and he done the two stents, and he has feeling actually chest pain with all of those medications. So it was not for him a sudden chest pain. It was all along because of his lifestyle habit. Now I know that your lifestyle, Jim, was very healthy
Mhm.
before that. So this is something that I'm glad that you went to the AR, because there is a chance for you to recover, which you did, which I'm glad that you did.
Mhm.
And this person here also recovered after 9 months, improving his lifestyle. He had only 90 from 99% to only 50% clogging here. You can see that 50%. No meds,
Yes.
no bypass, no
Mm.
stents in 9 months. And that was 1999. He
Mhm.
is still alive today at 101. So there's
Mm.
hope for you, Jim, to be alive till 101, even 111 after this episode, because you're going
Mhm.
to watch every bite that you eat,
Oh yeah.
every stress that you have. And then
Yeah.
you're going to be doing the wellness IQ at the Academy of Wellness.com, which predict stress. I know you're reluctant to do this. I know you're hesitant to do it, but I think now is the time to do it and to see exactly what is your score out of 10 questions, each
Mhm.
one worth 10. It's free, available to all of your viewers and
Yeah.
listeners. Academyofwellness.com, Wellness IQ. I know if you've
Mhm.
done this test here, Jim, your score is going to be good, because I tested you through my virtual device, AO mobile scan,
Right.
and it did show normal blood pressure, normal cholesterol. You're absolutely correct. All of the
Mhm.
numbers from your physician were correct. But I guess because of all of this chest pain that happened suddenly, maybe you had initial blockage that was
Yes.
just basically in the working there, but you're not even aware of it because you're
Mhm.
asymptomatic. You don't have any symptoms of chest pain
Mhm.
until it reach certain percentage, and then your heart cannot take it anymore, because your heart cannot push blood through a clogged artery like this guy here.
No.
He had
No.
tachycardia, arrhythmia, and chest pain. So the best way for your viewers here to learn from this experience, Jim survived that. Many people survive this in an ER. But my message today is, you want to prevent this from even happening. You want to
Yes.
prevent clogging from happening by
Mhm.
watching what you eat, what you do not eat, and what's eating you for stress. Because stress can cause 80%. And I know Jim is very hardworking. He always stretch the elastic too far. And he is just like workaholic like me. So we gotta kind of slow down a little bit,
Mhm.
slow down and exercise, and
Oh yeah.
watch our lifestyle and all of the stuff. We sometimes we ignore, or we take our health for granted. But
Yeah.
it's a great lesson to learn, Jim, and I think it's a good
Oh
idea
yeah.
to go back and do the wellness IQ. Tell me what's your
Mhm.
score. If it's low, then you know what
Mhm.
what you need to do here by increasing your hydration, your belly breathing, oxygenation, and then you're
Mhm.
eating 9 vegetables per day, and you're drinking the good old H2O, water, which most people
Oh,
actually
yeah.
ignore. Okay. So these are the things that we talk about in the academyofwellness.com under Wellness IQ. And Jim has been following this, but he was asymptomatic. That's what happened in November 1st. But I'm glad everything turns out to be good. You're a fighter, you're a survivor, you're a
Yeah.
thriver. You're gonna you're
Yeah.
gonna be kicking
You know,
around to age probably 111 and beyond
yeah.
because
What do you
you're
say? I'm still here, but I can't hear him, you know. You know what really surprised me?
yes.
And this actually surprised my next door neighbor, Dr. Ken Landgraf. He's a medical doctor, and he was my family doctor on up till he retired. Uh, I did not know, even though I knew our family history, my dad, he suffered from heart attacks and strokes. And of course, open heart surgery didn't first come around about 1960. So when he's having his trouble with his heart and all, I mean, it was still the only thing they had that day and time was medication. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And about 10 years ago, my brother he had to have open heart surgery, and he had 2 bypasses put in. And I did not know that the widowmaker is hereditary.
Yes, it is.
I did not know that. And I'm not the only one that did not know that. I had 2 doctors say, "Really, Jim?" Because my medical doctor, my family doctor, he's in the Scott and White, the Baylor Scott and White system. And when I landed in the ER here on that Friday night, I got in there about midnight, and he's automatically notified because I'm his patient. And he says, "I was following you all the way around, going through everything, because I saw him the week after I got out of the hospital. I got on Saturday, November 6th. And he says, "I couldn't believe this was happening to you, Jim. You've always been in great health. Your numbers are always good. This is good. That's good. So this thing just, it just kind of like slowly just going to raise its head." And what was interesting, they had me on the blood thinner. They had me on, I had 5 things hooked up to me. Blood thinner in one arm, saline in the other arm, had the oxygen thing on my finger, oxygen in my nose, the EKG thing, of course. And all the way through the weekend, I was just as normal and as plain Jane as you could get, because they wanted to keep me in the safety zone, to keep me with the safety net, because they were thinking on Monday, we'll be able to take him in and give him a catheterization and put a couple of stents in or whatever, and we'll send him home that afternoon. He's going to be doing great. And so what happened, George, you'll get a kick out of this, my warped sense of humor. I get in there and I'm in a good mood because, okay, I'm going to get fixed up, no more problems, And of course, when I'm in there, they're, "Okay, can you roll this way?" And I'm rolling this way. "Okay, lift up." Okay. And they're sliding these panels under me, so they take x-rays and all this stuff. And I noticed, I knew my right arm was over to the right and someone was, fiddling with it. And I looked over there. He's got this catheterization needle. Holy enchiladas, Batman. That thing is 4 inches long. It's about the size of an ice pick. I looked at that thing and I said, "Uh-oh, that's going to hurt." He says, "You're not going to feel the thing." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, I've already deadened it." And so he started to put it in. I saw this thing starting to tunnel in under my skin. And I thought, "Well, I've seen enough of that." And I looked over at him and I said, "Brother, I want to thank you for deadening that, because otherwise right now you and I would be watching my toenails grow right through my socks." And then we both started laughing. And then the next thing that came down when they shot the dye in there, my cardiologist, Dr. Gray, he says, "Jim, these stents won't do you any good." And I sent you the 3 x-rays he showed me.
Yes.
And I forget which side he said, because there's a left and a right and then the LAD in the bottom. But one had a 33% blockage in it. The other side had 99% blockage in it.
Yes.
And then the lower, what's the LAD stand for? The lower anterior descending or whatever.
Yeah. Descending.
That's the home of the widowmaker.
Yes.
That's the main pump of your heart there. And you've heard of people dropping dead of a heart attack. The Widowmaker can make that happen like that. In fact, not to sound dramatic, but if you Google it, if you have a Widowmaker heart attack outside of a hospital, your survival rate is about 12%.
Yeah.
It is a serious situation. So I just want to just finish what my thought is and turn it over to you a little bit. But people ask me, or they tell me, says, Jim, that was a horrible thing you went through. And I said, well, no, not really. Because when Dr. Gray told me, so you see this here, and showed me the blockages, he says, you need open heart surgery. You need it today because you need some bypasses. And I just closed my eyes and I just said, well, Lord, if the surgery goes well, I go home. If it doesn't go well, I still go home. And immediately I was just covered in a calmness and just peacefulness. And I knew instantaneously that I was going to be okay. And Dr. Gray said, again, we're going to put, got to put some blockages in here. You need the open heart surgery. And I said, this is great. And he looked at me for a second. I said, no. I mean, with the bypasses in there, I don't have to worry about taking rejection drugs because they're going to be harvesting the veins from my leg and grafting them into my heart. And that was the first time I heard the word cabbage. They said cabbage, and I'm going like, I'm thinking the kind you eat. But that CABG, that's coronary artery bypass grafting. That's what it stands for. And, I tell you, it's humbled me a little bit, George, because I've thought a lot about, everything that I went through. And you take, for example, the person that ran the heart and lung machine when my heart was stopped. That's where they there's two tubes. One tube pulls the blood out of your body, runs into this machine. This little pump becomes your heart and your lungs. Then it pumps the oxygenated blood back into your body to keep you going, Yeah. And I never got a chance to see that individual or to shake their hand for, what they did for me.
Yes.
And in my humor, I say, I really would like to thank that guy because he made sure I got enough oxygenated blood, because when I checked out, I wasn't any dumber than I was when I checked in. And that's the way I look at it, because to me, it was a blessing in disguise, because now I was able to bypass the Widowmaker. That is the most serious, dangerous situation in your heart, because when that thing hits, it'll snake bite you, folks. And Dr. Grant, I want to ask you this here. Like you say, what you're eating and what's eating you and all that, but I was just, wondering how or why. And you may not even know the answer to this, because I asked the other doctors that and they didn't know either. But how and why did all of my tests, all my cholesterol levels look good when I've got blockages in my heart? That's the one thing I hadn't figured out. So that's why I say, folks, your best defense for your heart is a good offense.
Yes.
As soon as you feel anything in your chest, pain-wise, get it up, get it in gear, and get it to the ER.
Yes. Yes.
Because they gave me those 4 baby aspirins. They gave me that nitro, and then it dissipated the mild heart attack that I was in.
Yeah.
And the real advantage in that, Dr. George, and I'm keep talking on, I got to hush and let you talk some. But it made me feel good when Dr. Covington says, the ultrasound we did on you, your heart's in great shape. You didn't suffer any type of damage or tissue, because that would cripple your heart from working properly. So with the new bypasses I got, my heart's in good shape and all that. And so therefore, that's why I say this was a blessing in disguise for me, because I was able to get rid of the Widowmaker. And let me just turn the mic over to you because we don't script anything here. We just talk right in the seat of our pants. So, anything
Yes.
I've said that you'd like to share with that triggers something in your mind you'd like to share with the audience, please do.
Well, basically, Jim, we have two types of cholesterol. The first one is called HDL, which
Mhm.
stands for high density lipoprotein. We call it the good cholesterol. Okay. So if the audience are not quite understand science or understand the pharmacology or toxicology, any of the stuff, HDL stands for happy cholesterol. H, happy cholesterol. LDL is the lousy cholesterol. It's the bad
Mhm.
cholesterol. So what happened to the lousy cholesterol when you eat the wrong type of food? They start to get oxidized and start to actually narrow the arteries of your heart that feeding the heart with oxygen. So you have a
Mhm.
decreased oxyhemoglobin. And what happened now, start to get clogged very, very slowly. And if you do exercise, if you eat the right stuff, and if you drink lots of water, then the HDL will be high to prevent this, widowmaker and heart attack. But
Mhm.
if the HDL is low and the LDL is high, then you get into a higher risk. And this is
Mhm.
why it's called a silent killer, because you cannot feel that the inside of your arteries is clogged. You become asymptomatic. You have no symptoms. The
Mhm.
only thing you may feel if you try to run, you may be out of breath. And that
Yeah.
is when you have to really do more brisk walking to strengthen that muscle, which we call it the heart. So this is how you
Mhm.
bypass the bypass. This is how
Mhm.
you avoid the widowmaker. Is the
Mhm.
best thing. I believe that prevention is better than intervention. So you don't want to see yourself again in the ER. You want to actually
Mhm.
do the proper stuff. You're gonna start tonight. Your homework tonight, Jim, is to go to do the wellness IQ and email me and send me your score. Okay?
Okay.
Because among my 25,000 clients all over the world, their score is under 55 out of
Mm.
100, which means that the lifestyle, the eating habits, drinking habits, breathing habits, exercise habits, not optimal. Okay. So
Mhm.
this is what I do with my average clients, and that's what I do with my Olympic athletes. By the way, Olympic athletes can sometimes experience heart attack if they're missing
Mm.
essential minerals like magnesium, like potassium. In fact, if you're missing potassium, Jim, you have a disease called hypokalemia, which means it can actually stop the heart from contracting and expanding, because
Mhm.
the heart depend on minerals like potassium, magnesium, and all of the other calcium. Of course, every other minerals in the body makes the heart pump, and so it's really important to watch your diet. And if you're not having an adequate diet, it's a good idea to complement your diet with a good supplement like I did recommend for you before. Anyway,
Mhm.
regardless, this is the question that doctor did not answer you, because this problem with the heart, when you have this problem here, you've got LDL, cholesterol gets oxidized, HDL, which is supposed to protect you from having a heart attack, gets lower. And then there's another things called CoQ10. Coenzyme Q10
Mhm.
regulates heartbeats, and coenzyme Q10 is essential to prevent heart disease and to prevent heart attack and to prevent widowmaker. Um,
Mm.
some cardiologists in Canada and the US speak a lot about the importance of CoQ10. I strongly recommend that you take a supplements with CoQ10 to prevent this from happening again. The
Mhm.
reason for this, the first one, you can go through it and then you recovered fully. Congratulations, which is wonderful. But the second heart attack would not be a good idea at all. So you really want to prevent this, God forbid, the second heart attack at all cost. So this is now
Mhm.
become prevention now becomes really better than intervention.
Mhm.
I am sure your cardiologist give you the lectures about what you need to do for exercise and for
Mhm.
diet and for all of this stuff. I'm sure they did, because they are really, they they
They're
do
very
bypass
thorough.
what they do, but they also recommend lifestyle changes, because then we have to find out that this will never happen again in a year or two or 5 or 10 or 20 in your case, or 30, God willing. So that
Mhm.
is what I would like to share with your viewers here. The widowmaker can be prevented, and if you continuously doing the scan with me virtually, like I
Mhm.
did with you before, to make sure everything is okay, make sure your diet is okay, and make sure that you did the wellness IQ to see if there's any tweaking in your diet.
Okay.
We tell our people to go through intermittent fasting. like 2 meals per day, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Nothing after 7 p.m. Do not go and engorge in a heavy meal at 10 p.m. and you go to sleep at 11 p.m. That is not good for the heart at all, because then the stomach is, the blood goes to the stomach, and then you need to digest this food before you go to bed. You're going to have problem with sleep, problem to relax, you have indigestion. So good idea to do what the Wellness IQ at the Academy of Wellness.com is saying. Make sure that you score at least 70, 75%. If you're lower than that, then you have to pay attention to what are you missing here to satisfy that. That is really critical for you, Jim, at this point in that journey for recovery, because your heart now have to recover from this episode that happened November 1st. So you've been for 29 days under critical care. The cardiologist did a great job. Congratulations. They've done a wonderful job for you. And they're very good at emergency medicine. But to take medication now, a blood thinner, for the rest of your life, I would work with your cardiologist to check something called INR. How much is your blood is thinning? It's supposed to be 1 and 3. If it's 1, it's too thin. If it's 3, it's too thick. So you want to monitor that number with your cardiologist. And then once it gets down to 1.5, right in the middle, that's good news. So now they can start to wean you off the medication, baby steps. And then you can take maybe aspirin. I'm sure they're going to give you something called statin medications, because this was the standard operating procedure for somebody who has a heart attack or widowmaker. They're going to put you on Zocor, Lipitor. Again, that drug depletes your CoQ10. So you have to be very careful about having the CoQ10, because if you keep taking the statin without having the supplement with CoQ10 and all of the other methyl B complex, then your body's going to go into, what we wanted to avoid in the first place. Yeah. A second heart attack.
They can shove you over the cliff again.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's no fun, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you that. It's it's really I've been asked, how did I feel whenever Dr. Gray made that comment to me that the stents would not do me any good, that I needed open heart surgery. And to me, it wasn't, it didn't rattle me or anything. I've always been kind of a reality kind of guy. As long as we can face, the whatever we got to face, we'll be good to go. And from there, I just kind of like matter of factly just, took it as, okay, now we know what it is. Now we know what the proximate cause of the problem is. And there can be an answer. And that was it.
Yeah.
And that feeling that I had when I said, Lord, if the surgery goes well, I'll go home. If it doesn't go well, I'll still go home.
Yes.
That wasn't a prayer, a petition, because I didn't ask for anything. It was a proclamation of my faith. And I was talking to someone there in the hospital, and he came back to see me. And he said, that's kind of an interesting thing, what you said there. And I just kind of, just said without thinking, I says, well, if your faith does not bring you comfort in your hour of need, what good is it?
Yes.
And that's just the way I am. That's just the way I'm wired, And, but like I say, this was a blessing in disguise because of the fact now I'm aware of the fact that you don't pay any attention to, you do pay attention to your cholesterol levels, your blood work and all that, but don't think that is all in all complete, because it is not. Because even though my tests look good and all that, at the same time, I have blockages building up.
Yes.
And that's the spooky part. You don't know it.
Yes.
You can't feel it.
Yes.
And that will definitely yank this.
We can measure that blockage, and then we can prevent it from reaching that 99% threshold. We can see it, and we can measure it with biofeedback and the frequency device that we have, and then we can take a proactive role, not to have it to go to 90, 95, or 99% in your case. And because you had not just one blockage, you had 4 blockages, Jim. And
I know.
If you recall, when we did the scan, if you go back to your report that I sent you, if you remember about the HDL and LDL we discussed then, if you go back and look at your report, you're gonna see it. I've seen it, and I've shown it to you. But I guess you chose not to listen to me 100% and
No,
not
it
to move
wasn't
on.
that. I remember we talked about it,
Yes, yes.
and
And we talked
I
about
was thinking
family
about,
history.
yeah,
Like, remember I mentioned about family history about from your DNA marker.
yeah,
It did go on your chromosomes, and then I asked you, and you said yes, you had this family history with heart disease. And I did point out to you that you have to be ultra careful now about your lifestyle and not to push the elastic. Otherwise, if you keep pushing the elastic, sometimes
uh-huh,
it's gonna snap. And that's what the snapping
yeah,
exercise happened on November 1st. So
mm.
it's, you see, I always tell my clients, Jim, prevention is much better than intervention, and
Oh yeah,
self-care is better than crisis care. It's
hmm,
like simple techniques that people know how to, because I have seen it in my parents, I've seen it in my grandparents, I've seen it in my 25,000 clients, and I've shown you what some of my clients experienced, you know.
hmm.
So I think this is what I call it, Jim, your turning point. So this is your turning point right there. So
Yeah.
now you're not gonna never be the same again. You're gonna start to do the brisk walking. I'm sure your cardiologist told you you're gonna
Oh
start to
yeah,
walk, brisk walk daily. I'm sure they told you
yeah,
that. Yes. Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, and I do but about 20 minutes a day,
Yes,
brisk
20 minutes,
walking.
25 minutes a day. Excellent. Brisk.
Hmm.
And then after you finish the brisk walk, we're gonna do a slight, weight training to strengthen the
Right.
muscles
Hmm.
and so on. And then we start to do the belly breathing every hour, which is very important to nourish the oxygen to your brain and to your heart. And it's very important to drink H2O, the water
Right.
with
Right.
lemon
Hmm. Hmm.
and apple cider vinegar to detox your body
Yeah.
from all of this stuff that you've been through.
Yeah.
And take the CoQ10, take the B complex, take all of the vitamins and minerals that are recommended for you, because
Uh-huh.
these are essential part to prevent this thing from happening again. So these are the things that we can watch it pretty well every 3 months. We can run the scan for you again, Jim, to see
Hmm.
if we're on the right track. If there is fine tweaking or a tune up we have to do in between to
Hmm.
change your diet, change your lifestyle, to cut back
Hmm.
on bad fat, the
Yeah.
LDL cholesterol, the triglyceride, the thing that gets oxidized and clog the arteries. We need to watch for this. So I'm sure your cardiologist told you from now, Jim, no bacon. We have to
Yeah.
cut back on meat. We have to cut
Hmm.
back on all the fried food. We have
Hmm.
to eat the 9 green vegetables. I'm sure they told you this because
Oh yeah.
it's a part of their, they call it education for to prevent further widowmaker, to prevent further
Hmm.
heart attack. I'm sure they sent to a dietitian or
Oh
nutritionist
yeah.
to tell you what you need to do here.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be supporting you still. We're going to be helping you. We're going to be identifying early signs when we have the LDL is getting a little bit high like this. We don't want it to be high. We want to
Hmm.
be the HDL is the one to be high, the good cholesterol and the
Hmm.
LDL to be low, triglyceride to get below. So you have to start watching your food now. I'm sure
Hmm.
you told you to eat in like soups and vegetables and
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
uh, no fried stuff and
No.
no
Huh.
of course no fast food. From now on, you do not touch any French fries or KFC or any of the stuff. I mean, this is out of your reach. No, this is
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah,
Okay,
because I don't normally go those kind of places anyway. I cut
good,
them off several years ago, so that's no big
good.
adjustment to me.
You
And I
bet.
had to laugh because when they give me the list of things to, focus on when I get home, be sure and look at this, follow this list, da 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 da
Good,
da. It
good.
was either the third or the
Yeah,
fourth item on there. And and ladies and gentlemen, forgive me, I'm just sharing it this with you because it was funny to me. It said no sex for 48 hours. And I'm thinking, that's not a problem. I mean, here I've been split open, I've
yeah.
been ribs separated. I feel like I've been kicked like a mule in the chest, and coughing hurts bad. Not a problem. Trust me on that. That never entered my mind.
That's good. Yes, because during sex, your heart actually work overtime and
Oh
works
yeah.
ultra fast to keep up with the
Mhm.
physical, that physical exercise and so on.
Oh
But
yeah.
when you do the brisk walk, when you do the walking, especially in the fresh air, it's really good therapy for you. But yes, you want to
Mhm.
avoid strenuous
Right.
exercise and putting your heart under overdrive mode. You want to avoid that
Right.
at all costs, and you want to avoid the
Absolutely.
stress. You want to minimize the stress in your life. Very important.
Mhm.
So that's really critical. And that's why we do the wellness IQ 10 question to just monitor what's going on. So I
Mhm.
cannot hardly wait to see the score for Jim. I'm
Okay.
hoping it's going to be over 70% by when I get it
Yeah.
by tomorrow, because that means you are on the right way for 100% recovery.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll fill it out because I went over there one day to fill it out and something came up and I forgot about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's
But
one thing you should never forget.
yeah,
Your health
yeah,
is a priority, Jim. Okay?
yeah, yeah, it really is. And the chickens came home to roost to me on that Friday night
Yes.
on October the 29th, because it's been, it was a surprise for me
Yes.
because, it sneaks up on you. And,
Yes.
one of the things that I really found out about my body, which is very interesting, after the surgery, I didn't have a lot of energy.
Yes.
And that's because the body is reserving the energy for
Yes.
healing.
Exactly. Correct.
And it's really amazing when you stop and think about it, because if the body releases the energy from that extra blood flow, and everybody says, once you get all this behind you, you're going to be amazed how well you feel. Well, if the body released that feeling, when it's still trying to heal,
Yes.
you would burn up the gas in the tank doing
Yes.
things.
Exactly.
And, I can't drive. I couldn't drive for 6 weeks, so I still got a couple more weeks to go there.
Okay.
And it's not, I've got a little cabin fever. It's not that I want to go somewhere. It's the thing that I can't go anywhere. And I got to tell you a funny story out of school. I had a surgery one time. It was a hernia repair.
Yeah.
And I was laying here at the house and I was getting bored because I'm not supposed to drive or anything like that. And I thought, I'd just like to ride up the road up there to the little gas station. I live out in the country. It's only about 1.5 miles up there. And get me a candy bar and a Gatorade or something like that, just to
No
do
candy
something.
bar,
Yeah,
no
I know.
Gatorade,
I
and
know.
no soda of any kind. I'm
I don't
sure
drink, I
your
don't drink soda
cardiologist
now.
told you that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't drink soda now.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
you've done it before.
Yeah, I did in the past. Yeah.
And
And
that's what caused high LDL
mhm,
and high triglyceride and low HDL.
mhm.
You see,
Yeah.
every bite that you put in your mouth, Jim, or every sip of a drink that you drink, it can make you healthy or it can make you ill. Every
Mhm.
bite and every sip of a drink. So people say, I drink juices, especially commercial juices. Okay, did you read the label of the commercial juices?
No.
Start with high fructose corn syrup. And
Yeah.
then if you don't have diabetes, your blood sugar is going to spike. And that is not a
Yeah.
good thing for your heart when you have
And
diabetes.
another thing too, they use citric acid in there to enhance the
Of
flavor
course.
of it. And
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
not a natural product. That's
Yes, it
originally
is. Well, exactly. And
that was
then
originally made to etch metal,
well, this is
But
it. So you got to watch and read. You got to
yeah.
be educated about this. And that's why I
Oh
tell
yeah.
people, go to academyofwellness.com, read all of the
Mhm.
350 blogs, which
Mhm.
I'm expecting you, Jim, to read tonight, all of them before you go to bed tonight. All of the 350 blogs. Every blog is only half an hour, Jim. You can manage it. But you know what, Jim? If you read one blog a day, in
Mhm.
1 year, you will know more about this than my 3 doctorate, 3 masters. You know why? Because sometimes I forget what I wrote 2
Mhm.
to 3 years ago. So if it's
Sure.
fresh in your
Sure.
mind, you'll be able
Sure.
to retain that, and then you'll know more
Yeah.
about wellness than me. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I was sharing a story about being at home and I wanted to go somewhere. And my wife had, I don't know where the truck keys were. So I look out there and I got my tractor and I thought, that'll work. So I get on my tractor and I go up there. And on the way back, I didn't realize it, but the neighbor lady saw me on the tractor, And I was glad that when I got back home, I was glad to get off that thing from bouncing up and down, to be honest with you. And par for the course, my wife goes to the grocery store, runs into the neighbor lady. Oh, I saw Jim out there driving his tractor.
Oh
You saw him
no.
what? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I did hard time in the hacienda with that one. I thought,
So
man,
not only you violate the rules for Dr. Grant, you violate the rules for your own wife. I mean, you are something, Jim. You are really
I
a
mean,
troublemaker.
I looked at it like this. I mean, I can't even fudge without getting into trouble. So why even
I know.
try?
Okay, no tractor from now on, no bad food,
Oh
no
yeah.
stress. You have to relax and just take one day at a time. And
Oh yeah.
and
I
and
really
count your
appreciate I really
yeah.
appreciate life and things more
Yes,
now because that's a wake-up call, folks.
yes,
I mean, that will flat down slap you in the face, wake you up, and it will get your attention in a hurry. And
yes,
it also made me very grateful for all the good things that happened to me with especially the nurses and the
yes,
doctors. Oh my gosh, the nurses were fantastic to me. And they kept telling me, said, we've never seen anybody. The one nurse told me that she had been working in cardiac for 4 years. She says, I've never seen anybody get up and can do the things that you do. And she says, especially when you're 73 years of age. She says, you can walk all the way down the hall at a regular pace and come back. And I was joking around with her. And I said, well, there's one thing you don't know. She said, what's that? I said, well, you got to throw this into the equation. I'm kind of dumb. I might not have known the difference. She got a kick out of that. But, when they came in there the next day and stood me up and walked, I mean, I had no trouble walking or anything like that. And everybody was just kind of like amazed. And I really think the secret ingredient there was I had hundreds of people praying for me.
yes,
And I really think that made the difference. And that, assurance that I had that everything's going to be okay. And now I can be proactive and aware of the fact that, even though your numbers look good on the lab test and all that, that is only the starting point. It's not an all in all. And like I say, it was a wake up call for me. So I'm grateful for that. I really am. And it's just amazing because at your website there, the Academy of Wellness, you got a lot of information there. My goodness gracious, you got that AO scanner too. That
yes.
thing's amazing. And I need to go back and look up mine and do some more research on it. It's buried somewhere in my emails. I got to find it. But tell them a little bit about that AO scanner, if you would.
Well, the device AO mobile scan, it does actually scan the body frequency virtually, and it can detect and correct frequencies. So we do the voice, and then from the voice, we can tell about the emotions, because sometimes our emotions determine our physical health. If you're emotionally balanced and if you sleep well, then physically you're well. But if you have lots of stress, lots of emotions, then physically you're going to be affected. So once we finish reading the voice, we'll give you 7 PDF file. I want you to go back, Jim, and look at the results of the voice analysis through the AO mobile scan. And then you will see some of the stuff that I found out about you.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps you can share with the audience some of the results we found in the voice. And after I did the voice, we did the vitals, all of the vitals, almost like a CBC blood test.
Mm-hmm.
And it did show that you're in good health, reasonably good health at 73 years young. And then it shows that your actual age is actually much better than chronological age. So I'm not far from you. I'm 71. I'm going to be 72 next April. So I'm not far from your age. Okay. So
I'll
but
try
you
not
look
to slow down.
because you look much younger because you laugh more than me. Anyway, laughter is the best medicine. Now, if you look now at the vitals report and you watch what I just told you about the nutritional stuff there, and watch about the heart and watch the cardiovascular part, then you will see exactly what I told you, because it's a 55 pages long for the vitals. We did
Yeah,
not
no.
we only spend 60 minutes with you to finish 55 pages of vital, 7 PDF, which is almost like 25 pages of voice. And then we have the comprehensive, which is 85 pages long. We do all of these things through 1 hour virtually. I know everybody knows that Jim is in Texas. I'm here in Toronto, Canada. And if your audience does not know the geography of Canada, Toronto is just north of New York. If you don't know where's New York, I cannot help you. Okay.
It's a little bitty town up there somewhere in New York, isn't it?
Exactly. A bit up north. Anyway, so I am in Toronto and Jim is in Texas, and then we did the scan virtually. Would you say, Jim, the voice vitals comprehensive was almost like 95, 96% accurate to a blood test, to any physical test that you've done in the past.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
I've done it also to your colleague, Donna, and she said
Donna?
she's so amazed. She is so
Yeah.
amazed about the accuracy of the test. And she, in fact, sent me her daughter and sent me other people to do the test. So, yes, I would encourage your clients, if you just mention Jim, and usually the test costs $150 for this scan for 1 hour. If you mention Jim, we'll give you 25% off. But you need to tell me that Jim Grant sent you or Donna sent you. Then you're going to get 25% discount. And this is an eye revealing scan. If you're not 100% happy after I do the scan, you don't have to pay me a penny. 100% satisfaction, or you don't have to pay. So that's what I did for Jim. And if you go back now to your comprehensive scan, Jim, look at the cardiovascular part. You will know exactly what I told you. And because now it's after the fact, you got this Widowmaker. We look at it now before, and then you're going to see it. You're going to see a complete picture predicting what about to happen, because you did not do exactly what I told you on the Wellness IQ every single day. You did not do exactly what I told you. So, and it did show on your test, by the way, on the comprehensive scan, which is 85 pages long. But just focus on the heart section. You don't have to look at the liver or the other stuff. And then email me and tell me whenever you're available in the next, maybe after Christmas, in the new year, say mid-January or early February, we can do the test again for you to see now what happened between that time frame when you had the Widowmaker, when you had the heart attack and the bypass and all of the stuff. And now here's the fact after 2 to 3 months from having the instance. And then I can tell you with absolute confidence, you're going to be fully recovered like this gentleman here from 28 meds and 2 bypass and 2 stents to no medications, no bypass, no stents in 9 months. Okay, sir.
That's very interesting. That's why I wanted to bring you on today, because, taking an honest look at myself, and because that's what you have to do. You have to be honest with yourself.
Yes.
And you got to take a certain amount of responsibility for, think what went well and lessons learned. And, I relatively, we eat healthy. My wife does. She started cutting back on certain things, but we hadn't cut back all the way yet. And of course, we were maybe slow cutting back. But the thing of it is that I'm grateful because I'm still standing.
Yes.
Number one, and there's room for improvement. And
yes, remember, Jim, when I asked you about the consumption of cow's milk and dairy, you remember when I asked you about that?
Okay. I don't drink cow's milk. I only drink
almond.
Very
excellent. But that also applies to the cheese made from milk and also the butter.
Yeah.
And then it's also the margarine, any saturated fat, any trans fats. That's what clog the arteries. So, I mean, cardiologists do a wonderful thing by doing the bypass and the stents, but they are not actually telling the people about what causes the heart attack or the clogged artery in the first place. They did not have that much training in nutrition and integrative medicine and prevention. With all due respect to them, because I work with lots of them. In fact, Jim, I'm going to invite you in our next session. A cardiologist who's integrative cardiologist. He's from Columbia, Missouri. And then his name is Dr. Anand. He does lots of cardiology, Western cardiology, but he's also practiced Eastern medicine prevention. And then he can share with you from his experience which one worked better, his bypass, the stent, the medications, or preventing that. I think it would be a good idea to have him join us in the next upcoming session. And then he is a very wealth of information. His name is Dr. Anand.
When's that going to be? Do you know? Do you know the date on that yet?
I have to book him. He's very busy doing bypass daily in Colombia. Okay. So I have to book him and make sure that he's available. So we have to book him probably 30 days in advance. He's more busy than I am. You can imagine that. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone for this show. It's about 3:55, and we need to sign off. And we want to thank you so much for tuning in. Most importantly, get in touch with Dr. Grant there at the academyofwellness.com. He's got a wealth of information there. Take the Wellness IQ. I'm going to do that. And I just wanted to come on today to share with you some of the things that went well and some of the hard lessons that I had to learn. And because that's what I'm here for, is to provide good information infotainment, as we call it, to you.
Yes.
And Dr. Grant, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Jim. And it's a great always to have you. Congratulations on your success. And remember, always learn, live, laugh, let go, and leave a legacy.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. Thank you so much. We'll see you. I'll be seeing you soon. Tomorrow, I've got 2 appointments, one with my cardiologist, one with the
Okay.
physical trainer. And I
Okay.
think the other one's with the psychiatrist. I forget which. Oh, you'll appreciate this. You know, I told Dr. Smith, the gentleman that performed the surgery on my heart, and I was teasing him. I said, you know what? There's one thing I'm thankful for. He says, what's that? I'm glad nobody walked in and says, you know, Mr. Grant, we've been going over all your records and looking at all the tests and all that. And we really think that if we grafted or harvested some of the veins from your other leg and grafted them into your brain, it would really make an improvement for you. He cracked up laughing, you know. Oh, my goodness. We've had a lot of fun. We've learned a lot of things today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.